Welcome to a new episode of the Born to Create podcast, where we talk all things creative, business, mindset, and health and wellness. Don't put us in a box because we don't belong there. We were born to create, and so are you. I am your host, KL Jones, and I'm here with my brother,
Anthony Rudolph, the co-host.
Brother from another mother, though. Not my blood brother. No, I treat him like one.
Yeah, she does.
What's good?
Everything's good, man. We here.
We are
we
here
in the studio. We doing what we love. We here. I mean, what more could you ask for?
I mean, it's a dream. You know, when people say living the dream, we really are living the dream. On today's episode, we're going to be talking about why you need to start a podcast now to grow your personal brand and your business brand. So let's get into it.
But first, I want to tell them about some resources that we have.
Okay,
right.
Cool.
So a few things. So we just launched our Born to Create podcast exclusive membership area.
Let's
go.
Where
you guys can learn more about us, Elle and I, learn about podcasts, learn about business, get some merch. I mean, it's so much in there. So links below. Click the link and join the exclusive Born to Create membership area, and you will not be disappointed. Right. Next, we have the Born to Create apparel. Right. So we rock apparel all the time, and I want you guys to go to the site, check out some merchandise, shirts, hats, t-shirts, hoodies, whatever's there. It's from us to you.
Us to
right?
you, yes.
So
yes.
just want to drop that before we got into the podcast, but let's hop into it.
You're forgetting one.
Hook us up.
The Brand Story Profit Guide. Come on,
The Brand
dude.
Story Profit Guide.
And here's why that's important. And we'll get more into this in this episode. But if you are not leveraging storytelling in your marketing, you are going to be left behind. Yes, we are talking about why you need to have a podcast in 2023, and more specifically, a video podcast. But please do not think that you can just go set up some cameras, grab a mic, turn on some lights, and just sit and talk.
Oh, you can.
Well, yeah, you can. You do have. Let me take that back. You do have creators out there who are doing that. But if you want longevity in this game, if you want transformation, if you want results, if you want to experience growth, then you need to be able to have or learn how to leverage our storytelling framework. And so we have the link for the guide for you in the description box as well. So you can grab that. There are case studies in there on major brands like Apple and a few other brands I won't name because they're not getting airtime here unless they pay it.
So if they join the community, can they get that for free?
Oh, the brands?
Yeah. No. If our audience joins our
if you're
community,
yes, absolutely. So see, he does stuff on the fly because I wasn't even getting that.
Gotta build value.
Well,
right?
We giving value. This is free,
right?
Okay, but because my brother said that y'all deserve to have access to this, a complimentary access to this really in-depth comprehensive guide, if you become a member of our community, that will become one of those things that you have access to at no additional cost.
Fire. All right, so I got a question.
Yep.
Why do you need a podcast in 2023?
You need to have a podcast because, number one, it is going to increase your discoverability, especially if you're using video podcasts, and more specifically on a platform like YouTube, because YouTube is owned by Google, right? Google is the number one search engine in the world. It is designed for long form content like podcasts. Podcast is booming right now. There's only about 2 to 4 million podcasts, and it's more like, we went through these numbers the other day.
They were crazy.
Insane numbers, right? But here's the thing. Out of that 2 to 4 million, only about 180,000 are really actively publishing content on a regular or consistent basis. So when we think about that number and the billions of people that are in this world, and even narrow it down to someone that has a talent or a gift or a specific niche that they talk about. If you're a creator, an entrepreneur, you could be a doctor, and we'll get into the different types of people that podcasting is for. There's crazy opportunity, but it is growing rapidly.
It is.
Fortune favors speed. So if you are quick to, I'm not talking about jumping on trends, but I'm talking about looking at podcasting is literally will become your number one marketing tool for your business. With podcasting, you don't have to run ads. So we talked about the discoverability. We're talking about organic reach, especially again, if you are doing or are producing and distributing a video podcast like we have video podcasts, but we also have it in audio format, which is, by the way, available on all major podcasting platforms. So you get to create one piece of content every week, or if you're doing a 2 times a week show, whatever your frequency is, but you get to produce this long form content and then distribute it in multiple ways. So you definitely have to have a diversified media platform or media portfolio. And then from that one piece of content, you can create 20 more pieces of short form content. So it's working for you. Another reason why podcasting now is because it is evergreen. Again, you create one piece of content one time and it lives forever. I'll give an example. I've been featured on the Tamron Hall Show. I've been featured in Voyage LA. I've been featured in Shout Out Magazine LA. I've been featured in Essence Magazine, CBS, and all of that. That's great. It speaks to my credibility because I am a personal branding and media expert. So that tells my audience and my community that I am a credible source and expert in this industry, right?
Does World Star Hip Hop count?
Now,
I've been featured on World Star.
I don't even cuss, y'all. You know, daggone well.
I'm just kidding. I've never been on World Star.
You've been on World Star.
No, I've never been on World Star. I'm saying you got all these.
You've been on the neighborhood.
You got all
That's where you
these credentials. I'm like, hey, what I got? I got World Star Hip Hop.
You got World Star?
No, I don't.
We're going to make that happen, though. Because I always got my camera in. So.
But check this out. You said that one thing you said podcast is growing rapidly.
But wait, I ain't finished. My point was with all of those features, they're not evergreen for me. So the content is there. It's evergreen. So my feature on the Tamron Hall Show, that's evergreen for Tamron Hall's show.
Right.
But having my own podcast or even co-hosting a podcast, that's evergreen content for my brand, for our brand, what we're creating, right? Same thing with the magazine. I was featured in the Essence magazine when Meg Thee Stallion was on the cover. That was like 2 Octobers ago. Is that going to be relevant for anybody in the grand scheme of things?
Nah.
No. So podcasting allows you to create this long form content that lives forever, which leads me into the next one. You can leverage it to showcase your expertise. You can build a community, a membership like we have, and you have your own platform. So you have multiple ways to monetize work that you're already doing without creating extra work for yourself. So those are just a few. So I'm sorry. I'm not sorry. I meant to interject, but now go ahead and then.
So I was going to interject like an hour ago.
Whatever.
But I'm like, let me let her get this out of her system. You know.
Because you interrupted me, dude.
Cool.
Come on.
That's what we do, right? But so you said podcasts are growing rapidly. Right?
Absolutely.
So that can be scary for somebody, right? It could be. But another thing that you didn't share was that from the stats that you showed me is that yes, it's growing rapidly, but most people are not consistent or follow through. I think I read that most people do not hit 50 podcasts; they quit. Then you show one that's like it was like 20. No one gets past 21. Right?
And that's all you need to be in the top 1% of podcasting. It's 21 episodes.
Right. So
that's insane.
So even though it's growing, most people are not consistent in staying in the game. It's the same thing with YouTube. You see all these people on YouTube, and most people post 5 or 6 videos or once a year. So you can stand out, and the cheat code is consistency. Right? You be consistent and you do it every day. You won't always have the numbers you want. Right? But it's just keeping up the activity.
Yeah.
Because this podcast will pay us 3 years down the line, 4 years, 5 years, 10 years, because it's evergreen. It's staying there.
Yep.
Every single time we shoot, we post this thing on YouTube, we post it on iTunes or wherever it goes. we're going to get paid for this content for years to come.
Absolutely.
Right. And not only are you getting business from the platforms, but you're also funneling people from the podcast to your business. So whatever, if you are a doctor, a lawyer, or a chiropractor, whatever you do, the podcast is a marketing arm to your business.
Yeah,
right.
Absolutely.
And you use it that way. So if you have, or if you don't, you need an offer. Like, what's your offer? Like, our offer was what? We said, well, you know what? You can go to our membership area.
Yeah.
You can go to our apparel store. You can get the brand story guide. So you got to have these offers to make the podcast worth it. We can sit here and chit chat and talk mess, but are we getting paid for that?
Yeah, because I think that's a great segue for this, is because you will have some people to say, oh, I just create for the art of it. I'm not focused on money.
Right.
Even if you're creating for the art of it, you still have to have financial resources to support the art that you're creating.
Or keep your lights on in your house.
And how are you going to do that, right? But if we are on all of these other platforms, creating content, doing Instagram lives, Facebook lives, TikTok lives, all these platforms, we are creating content. Yes, it's our content, but these platforms are literally leveraging our IP to monetize and grow their brands.
Right.
You need to be able to get a piece of the pie. And anyone who has been following me for any length of time knows where I stand when it comes to protecting your IP and having ownership and how important that is.
Right.
Even with doing this podcast, YouTube, even though I have a network, YouTube is the best place for me for this type of content, because YouTube has already has an infrastructure in place that's going to allow me to not only produce and distribute the content, but then monetize off of it. And you can monetize in a lot of different ways, and we'll get into that. But these are, you have to be building something that will lead to some form of revenue.
Right.
And there are multiple ways to do that. Another reason why you need to have a podcast right now, you need to get started now. I'm not talking about 6 months from now or even 2 months from now, really. You need to start, is because it's going to expand your network exponentially.
Yes. And your authority.
And your authority and your credibility. Yeah. We're not just on here talking and shooting a GIF back and forth about like what you got on, what I cook for dinner. Like, we're really adding value to our community, but we're also adding value to one another. And even though this is a 2-person hosted show, we have opportunity. You have your own podcast, right, which you can talk about. I have my own podcast that's coming out. We have a podcast network that is growing, where we have other podcast creators who are in our network, right? And so what you're able to do is bring on guests. Then you leverage other people's networks and their communities. If you want, what did I say the proverb was? If you want to go fast, go alone. But if you want to go farther, go together. Right. What type of value do you have that you can lend to someone else? Create an opportunity for their voice and stories to be heard, because that person may not want to start a podcast, but they're looking at like the only way to get more leverage or eyeballs on their business is to, purchase ads with paid media. That doesn't always work. You got to have someone who's really skilled in that area. So unless you have an ads manager within your business and your organization, it's not going to work for you. You're literally going to be throwing.
It works, but you need expertise in that area.
That's what I'm saying. Unless you have someone who has expertise within your organization, or you have an agency like ours that you can hire someone to do it, then it's not going to work for you.
So I'm feeling like this podcast episode has masterclass vibes. Like,
absolutely.
we're giving so much.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. You talked about how podcast creates authority. Yeah. Right. And excuse me, I was watching the show with Donald Trump. Is it The Apprentice? The Apprentice.
Yeah.
So he did Celebrity Apprentice. Right. So he had a bunch of celebrities on there. He had Arsenio Hall on the show. So one of the task was, I need you to make some phone calls and raise X amount of dollars. Yeah. Right. Come back tomorrow and let us know what you did. So tomorrow came. Arsenio was like depressed. Right. So he said, I made so many phone calls to my friends. No one answered the phone. but he said, but when I had a show, everyone answered the phone, right? So his credibility left after his show got canceled or left.
Yeah.
So the power in having a show, the power in having authority, that opens doors, right? That brings people to you that used to be out of your reach.
Yeah.
Right. So even though, yes, it's used as an income stream, but the authority can get you indoors, get you on stages, get you speaking gigs, get you on magazines, get you on other shows.
Yeah.
So having a podcast can do so much for you. And honestly, it's fun.
It is so much fun. I think, we have our producers in the show, and one of them was like, yo, y'all make it look easy.
Yeah.
But because it's fun, like we literally enjoy doing this. To your point, the other thing is when you launch your own podcast, you don't have to worry about pitching yourself to networks. So you have a lot of business leaders and entrepreneurs who are hiring PR agencies or they're doing their own PR. They're pitching themselves to different networks and other media outlets. Maybe you're pitching, as a creator who wants to be in the influencer space, you're pitching yourself to brands.
Right.
Having a podcast literally takes you, it catapults you past, it makes the process easier.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that it becomes easy and it's just like a magic pill where all these things are going to be popping off, but it puts you ahead of the people who are still relying on old, outdated methods and ways to get visibility and scale their visibility. So podcasting, and it's crazy because truth be told, Born to Create has been around for a long time.
A minute.
And I think we can talk a little bit about the consistency piece again. But when you first started, it started from your home, right?
It did.
And there was a period in time when you took a break from it. Right. It wasn't always the Born to Create podcast with Elle and Anthony. It was the Born to Create podcast with Anthony, right? And so having Anthony present an opportunity for me to come on here with you and really do this thing, it's opened up so much for me in my business. But not only that, just like how I see myself, it's gotten me excited about creating content again. I've spent like the last 2.5, 3 years behind the camera, behind the scenes, producing content for clients where traditionally I've always been the talent. I've always been in front of the camera. So then it was fun to kind of take a step back from that and be behind the camera, but I was missing it, being in front of the camera, but I wasn't in a hurry to get back because I was just trying to figure out, like, as my brand, my own personal brand has evolved, what do I want to show up and say? What type of content do I want to create? And I was kind of at this crossroads and not really sure what my next step was going to be. And when you hit me up, it was like really the perfect time. I don't think I've ever even shared that with you until now. Yeah. So it was the perfect time for me to step into this. So even though I am, stepping into being a co-host with you, my experience on camera and behind the camera and creating and delivering content and telling stories and producing high quality, award-winning content. I'm not new to this.
Not at all. Not at all. And it's amazing how, if people really looked at the power of media, I know we see it, we hear it, but the power of media has such a major impact and influence on everything we do, right? Everything we do. And media entertainment sells. Yeah. Right? It sells. People spend money to be entertained. People spend money to go and cry. You make them laugh, make them cry, you got them. Yeah. Right? I went to Vegas a few months back. I went to a WWE wrestling match. Yeah. Right? And big show, big entertainment, fireworks, pyrotechnics, all that. The show was over. We left. And there was like a line as maybe a quarter mile long, right, in the venue. I'm like, where's that line? It was a line to purchase merchandise from a show that they just saw, right? So you create a show, you create entertainment, and people will buy anything to be attached to you if they like what they see. Yeah. So the power of media is amazing. You have your Hulu, your Netflix, your Amazon Prime, your whatever's out there, right? People are paying subscriptions to be entertained. Now, why can't you do that? You can,
You absolutely can.
Absolutely
and
can.
A perfect example of that is when Coming to America 2 came out.
Mm-hmm.
It was on Amazon Prime.
Right.
It still is on Amazon Prime.
Right.
At the end of that film, Amazon was smart enough to leverage their own platform in e-commerce. So at the end, when the end credits roll, at the very end, they put up like a I don't want to say a screenshot, but they put up a picture of a product.
Really?
So you could purchase Coming to America
Are you serious?
apparel.
Oh, wow.
They had a whole shop.
I didn't know that.
And literally from your phone using your Fire Stick, you could click
it and purchase.
Add it to your cart and purchase it.
Genius.
So they captured their audience's attention right then and there when it was fresh. They didn't have to go anywhere else. It was already in.
Right.
Within the episode,
right.
You know, and we'll get into another leg of like how to generate revenue from your podcast.
Yeah.
And you don't have to have hundreds of thousands of followers to do that. But to your point, if you create connection with your audience, man, there's and you have good quality content.
Yeah.
Your audio quality needs to be great. You need to be able to tell impactful stories.
Yeah.
And those stories have to create an opportunity or an experience for your audience to see themselves
gotta connect
in that. You got to connect. Connection
connect.
is the name of the game.
But if you know what you represent, you know your business, you know your audience, I mean, connecting is not hard. You're just talking passionately about what you like. A lot of people are so afraid, well, I don't want to sell anything, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, if you're passionate about your product or your service, and you know that this product or service will benefit somebody else, is that selling? It's not. You're just talking.
And that's something that I had to learn.
Yeah,
You've
did.
really helped me with that, because if you just say the word selling, I'd be like, no, I'm good.
Yeah.
Like I'm not because for me, my experience with sales had always felt like the sleazy salesperson.
Yeah.
So there was a mindset shift that I had to make. And be honest with myself and say, every time someone sold me something, it wasn't a negative experience.
Yeah.
But because of those few negative experiences, I allowed that to be kind of the essence of what I thought selling was, which then affected me in my business.
Yep.
Because then I didn't want to sell. I would rather hire somebody like Anthony to come in and have a sales team and let them do it.
Yeah.
But no.
Yeah, but most of your sales will come from someone who's passionate about it, right? And, and you've been very passionate about what you've done. So let's talk about the money, or is there something else we'll talk about before then?
Well, just one point to what you were saying about just having something that you're really great at and talking about. So I think this will be a great opportunity to share one of those user cases for a podcast, right? So say you're a dating coach. And you have and this can apply to anyone who has a niche, right? Especially a really specialized niche, not your niece.
I'm giving it to you, or your auntie.
Don't even, man. Listen, okay. So that
story.
Auntie thing, got folks in the uproar. But anyway, so say you are a dating expert, and your niche is entrepreneurs, business owners, and CEOs. What's the one thing that they all have in common? They're growing their businesses. They're busy. They are focused on scaling, growing, making money. But a lot of times they don't have time to date, or they feel like they don't have time to date, or they want to date, but they don't have time to go through the process of like getting on the dating apps, swipe right. I don't know what y'all do, swiping right, left, up, down, vertically, whatever it is.
Did you say whore?
I was about to say horizontally.
Oh, okay.
But
I heard whore, but go ahead.
Bro, what is wrong with you? When I said aesthetics on one of our other episodes, you was like, naked? No.
Horizontal dating app. Horizontal dating for entrepreneurs.
There's a key. Somebody, we just dropped a bomb for you. Go ahead and get it before we do. So, they may not feel like they have the time to go through a dating app to find their match. So as a dating expert, that's something that you stepped in to do to help these high level or high performing professionals with, again, whether it's C-suite level, entrepreneur, business owner, or whatever. Now, here's where the dating expert can really scale their reach. Start a freaking podcast. The things that you teach your clients, you can literally pull from that framework and create a podcast with, content that you can leverage for your content marketing. You can leverage for your, your social media clips, all of that. All the things that we've already talked about and how you can really maximize the power of long form content. You're able to reach a higher caliber of people without running the ads. And I'm not anti-ads, but what I'm saying is like no, I'm not.
Yeah.
With podcasts, and especially video podcasts, whether people are listening when they're at the gym, some people might be watching while they're at the gym, they might be, whatever, but then this gives them an opportunity to experience your expertise in a different way.
It's easy access.
It's easy access.
Yeah.
So you can do that. Another case, a user case, is if you are an author or a publisher.
Yeah.
Say you're a publisher. And your goal is to get more publishing clients to help them write and publish their books. Create a podcast. Storytelling. Create an interview style podcast. Yeah. You don't always have to be the one talking. You can have guests coming on. Yeah. You can pitch brands. If you are wanting to get brand partnerships, you can leverage your podcast to pitch brands and say, this is what I talk about. This is my audience makeup. This is the demographics. This is where they are. This is how much they listen. Like, the more information you have, which can all be gathered from your podcast analytics, then you can pitch yourself to brands that way, which again puts you ahead of the game, because most people who are pitching brands are doing what? They're relying solely on their media kit and a pitch template. So those are the user cases that I said I promised that we would share. It is a masterclass, but here's
the thing: is that a lot of people watching this episode or listening is like, you know what? That sounds good, Anthony and Elle, but I don't have an audience, right? I don't have an audience of people. My last YouTube video got 5 views, right? So let's take the example of the dating expert, the you say a book publisher, whatever you're doing, right? You do this big production. Well, it's not big, but you produce like we do, right? Lay everything out, and you hop on, you post a video, you got the thumbnail, you ready to go, perfect editing, but you got 17 views, right? 17 views talking about dating. Most people think that is an epic fail, right? So look at it this way: you got 17 views, and your product is, say you're selling a product for $1,000, right? What if you had 17 people live with you in the room, right? You got 17. What's 17 times 2? I don't know, but you have eyeballs on you. I'm average 17. I'm average 5. But imagine those 5 people were sitting in front of you, watching you, and will that be valuable to you?
Absolutely. I
believe so, right? So don't look at it as the views, because everybody starts at 0 and then 1 and then 2. That's why we push being consistent.
And here's the thing with those 17 people in the room, right?
Right.
Like, I did have my phone on Do Not Disturb. Here's the thing with the 17 people in the room. You're going to have to rent a space, maybe feed them. Like, you're going to have to spend money to acquire those 17 people.
Right.
Or at the very least, get them in the room with you some kind of way, even if it's a free event. You're still going to have to spend some money in order to accomplish that.
Right.
Podcasting, like you said, those are, there's production cost, but that 17 will continue to grow.
Exactly.
It's not going to stay at 17, especially not if you're using our agency.
Right.
But it's not going to stay at 17, so you'll grow. But that's a great point.
Yeah, that's my point. Is like treat it like that. Treat it like as you have 17 people looking at you, like, okay, 17 people found what you said valuable, right? And if they don't buy today, they may buy tomorrow or in 3 months. I have a buddy I was talking to yesterday, and he was like, he flips homes, right? So he says, I'm going back and buying a home that I've been offered on 2 years ago. She wasn't ready to buy back then, but I'm gonna sell back then. But now she's ready. but now the house is worth $200,000 more than it was. So he has the opportunity to make more money.
Mm-hmm.
So when someone sees you today, they may not be ready today to buy.
Right.
But you being consistent and building your brand and building who you are and making bigger and better shows, then that person will eventually buy from you, and then you have them.
Yeah.
Once someone buys from you one time, you have their name, their email, their phone number.
Mm-hmm.
You can keep making offers to those people.
Yeah.
And some people will take the low offer. That's maybe $5 a month.
Mm-hmm.
Someone take the $10,000 a month offer, right?
Yeah.
So everything in between. So the key is to just maintain, be consistent, keep going, because if you do, this venture will be fruitful.
Yeah.
This venture will get you everything you want, and every dream that you imagine will come true.
Yeah. And
right?
Podcasting builds that discipline muscle of being consistent.
Oh, yeah.
Podcasting will definitely make you more disciplined.
Yeah.
It will provide more structure. Like pre-podcasting, I could be in my home office and, my days will look different, but like podcasting gives me that one thing,
Right.
one time a week where I know I've got to be in the studio.
Yep.
And we're coming, and then we're doing our pre-production meetings, and so even though this is an unscripted show, there's still a lot of work.
Yeah, there's planning
that goes on
definitely.
behind the scenes to
Definitely.
make this well-oiled, machine run the way that it does. And to be consistent, you got to be disciplined.
Yeah.
But those things lead to more leads, more acquisitions, more revenue. More revenue for you means more income.
Yeah.
And I don't know anyone who doesn't want to make more income.
They make excuses, and one of the biggest excuses is that, you know what, I'm just not good on camera. Like get over that. No, you talk to people every day anyway, right?
Exactly.
Every day anyway, you're talking and you're pitching your service every day anyway.
Every day.
If you're camera shy, get over it, because you're limiting how much money that you can make. You're limiting how much value you can provide to somebody, because somebody in Africa can see your podcast. Oh, you know what? I need that product. I need that skincare line. I need that makeup. I need that whatever it is.
Yep.
Right. So I used to be like, you know what? You can get somebody else to do it for you. Hire somebody.
Get somebody else.
Hire somebody. But no, if this is your brand, your product, if you have a partner, okay, have your partner do it.
Yeah.
But someone that represents the brand needs to be on camera talking about that product or that service or what you offer. So if you're camera shy, get over it and just get your butt on camera and make it happen.
But here's the newsflash, and we've talked about this plenty before, and I'll continue to say it. It doesn't matter what your brand, product, or service is. People are not buying products.
Yeah.
They're
That's
not
true.
buying services.
Right.
You know what they are buying? They're buying people. They're buying solutions. Your personal brand provides a solution and that solution, the vehicle for that solution might be a beauty product.
Yeah.
It might be, a course.
Right.
Or an ebook.
Right.
But you are the driving force, because people are tired, like being sold to. They want that. You'll hear us say it all the time, connection. And the greatest and best and quickest way to build connection is to allow people to see you. You don't have to be polished. Even as a media professional who's been doing this for more than 30 years, being both in front of and behind the camera, I still get on camera and I mess up. But I don't let that take me out of the game.
Yeah.
I still get on camera when my weight is ideal.
Yeah.
I still get on camera when it's not. And I got stuff going on. I might be trying to hide with the mic.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't allow yourself to get so much in your head that you become paralyzed and stagnant, because there's always somebody waiting for your unique sauce and edge that's going to help them to get to the next. And when you focus on that, if you're so busy tearing yourself up, just consider there's somebody else that can't get to their next until I show up and do what I need to do. And if that's not enough to make you move, you might want to reconsider and go and get a job. Like a 9-to-5.
I got a pain in my side.
Hurt?
So when you said that,
That hurt?
Yeah,
That
that hurt. Yeah, but people buy from people they know, like, love, and trust.
Absolutely.
Right?
And the love is important.
Love's important.
Love is important.
And having a podcast creates, having a media brand
Period.
creates that, right? So that's something that you definitely have to have. And you just got to just step into it. Just like get the first one done, do the first one. And you probably will hate every episode, but so what? It's not for you.
Can I, like,
what do you always say?
I don't even like listening to my own voice.
Yeah, me either.
But I go back and I watch and listen to our episodes because it's an opportunity for me to get better.
Right.
And that's the thing that it doesn't matter how long you've been doing a thing.
Yeah.
There's always room for growth.
Right. Yeah. And you definitely have to know who your audience is and what problem you solve, right? Who are you making this for? What problem do you solve? And then how are you solving that problem? Yeah. So, for example,
what's the transformation?
Right.
Yeah.
Example is that our podcast is for entrepreneurs, people who want to creators, be in business and really just make more money in business and really have a way to do that.
Yeah.
Right. So we do that by helping them create a membership area, courses. We teach them through our platform, right? And we show up for them through podcasting.
Yep.
Right. So we know our audience, we know we're teaching them, and we know the vehicle that we're pushing them into our program. Yeah. Right. So you have to know that, right? And again, like whatever your business is, put a podcast behind that, and you will see a difference, right?
And don't. Perspective is everything.
Yeah.
If you see the podcast at the very basic level for what it is, and that is a marketing tool.
It's a marketing tool.
Every business has to invest in branding and marketing.
Yeah.
If you are going to grow and increase your revenue, your reach, that's a part of your should be a part of your marketing strategy.
Yeah.
And platforms like YouTube are making it easier, which is why we feel like, and we're huge advocates of video podcasting. Again, it's one form of content creation or media that can be distributed in multiple ways, including audio. So every time we sit in the studio and film a video podcast, we have a team that is extracting that audio, and it's available for those who listen on audio platforms.
You can take this podcast, transcribe it, and create a blog post.
Come on.
You can create an ebook off of this, right? So you
can create a course.
You can create a course.
Like there's so many possibilities and ways that you can monetize that. And to your point with the blog post.
Hold on. Podcast course coming up soon. Go ahead.
Shameless plug.
Shameless plug.
But with the blog post, that's another extension because if you have it SEO optimized, when people go to Google and they search, teach me how to grow my brand, or top ways to grow my brand in 2020, insert whatever the year is. If you have done it properly, your transcription from your podcast audio that is now converted into a blog post is going to populate in the top results of your search. Right. Same thing with YouTube. And again, because there's this opportunity with YouTube podcasts now, they are changing the game.
They are.
Big time for creators, especially podcast creators. So there's, but you got to be in our membership to learn more about that.
Right. And this is the thing is like, podcasting is still so new.
It's so new.
Everybody that's having some success doing this, everyone's experimenting. No one knows the okay, this is the exact roadmap to podcasting. We're all still learning this game. Yeah. And that's why it's so open. Yeah. That's why it's so open. It's like, whoever's listening to this, you guys can go out there and test something and it works, and you go teach it and make some money. Right, because this game is just so new. You
just need to have the results.
Yeah, just the results.
And the way that you get the results is to do the work.
Do the thing.
Do the thing. Get the results. Yeah. This is probably where we may not agree, but get a few results, then go teach the thing.
A few. I agree. A few.
You gotta be ahead of folks. Like you can't be like teaching as you're learning.
No, you gotta be ahead.
That's not gonna work.
Yeah, you gotta be ahead. So I was always taught be a chapter ahead, right? I mean, if you can be 3 or 4 or 5, that's fine. But as long as you're ahead and you know what you're talking about and you're confident in that, You can teach, but what happens is that
you got to have the results.
Yes. But for me, the podcast is the result, right? Mm-hmm. If you're not podcasting, if we're not here podcasting, we one can't talk about it or teach it, yeah. Right? Mm-hmm. We have a podcast workshop coming up. It's like, okay, if we don't know how to podcast, then we can't do it.
Yeah.
Right. So part of the result is actually being in the activity and doing it. Yeah. Right. Mm-hmm. So I want to before we go get to the money part. Right.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the money, and the money is there. These advertisers are tossing billions into podcasting, right? And our producer Anthony, I think he told me that, what was Anthony like there is going 20% every year. You were saying, I believe
7% compounded
every year. Podcast growth. So they're throwing cash into podcasting. So
shout out to Anthony, our producer.
Anthony, all right, and the director Jake Bond over there,
owner of Big Boss Media up in the house.
There you go. So, but yeah, they're tossing so much cash into it. But why not get a piece of that? Yeah. Right. And okay, and even the other billions, that's fine. But let's scale it down to how can a new podcaster make money like now today? Because with YouTube, there are requirements. Mm-hmm, right, to get monetized, but you can make money before that.
Yep,
right.
Yep. You can surpass the 1,000 subscriber, 4,000 hours of watch time,
right. All that
level, requirements.
Right.
You can, like you said, Anthony, and you can start locally, like in your local area. It's really about, like you said before, being really clear on who your audience is, what's your niche, like what are you talking about,
right.
And then you can go to businesses that offer a product or service that your specific audience needs, and then you can offer them an opportunity to insert ads, whether it's pre-roll, mid-roll, or post-roll, which simply means the ad either runs in the beginning, which is pre-roll, in the middle, which is mid-roll, which should be the higher level, because that's when the watch time typically tends to increase, especially if you have a great topic and keeping your audience engaged. And then your post-roll, which is at the end, or in the right before the end of the episode. So those are 3 different ways that you can make money in one episode. Let's make it even more tangible. You can have your pre-roll can be $1,000 investment. Right. Your mid-roll could be like $2,500.
Right.
And then your end-roll could be $1,200.
And again, you don't need a big audience, because a lot of these companies just want to be a part. I'm building this podcast, right?
It's about the engagement, not the numbers.
And even before that, so say you have a new podcast, like I'm noticing your bag over there, right? Say your podcast is on designer tote bags, right?
Yeah.
And you're interviewing, designers, and you have your own tote bag, and say you have, maybe 200 subscribers on YouTube, right? Mm-hmm. You're not monetized.
No.
They ain't paying you, right? But you can put affiliate links to products in your show description. Someone clicks on that link, you get paid a commission from whoever, from Amazon, from a tote bag company, whoever, right?
Affiliate marketing.
So these these microphones, right? So say you're an audio engineer, right? And you do podcasts on how to do audio or how to edit, right? You can have a link to these microphones in your show notes.
Yep.
Someone clicks on it. These microphones cost $500. $500, right? You get a small commission of that.
Yep.
Right? If you have audio clips, so there are so many ways that you can make money with affiliate marketing without being monetized on YouTube. So what you said was amazing, the pre-roll, but even before that.
Oh yeah, I'm just giving different ways, because you're going to have some people at different levels. But to your point, like with affiliate marketing, even if we have this podcast, but I'm also in the network marketing and social selling industry, right? And so there are episodes where, depending on what the content is that we're talking about in that particular episode, there's going to be a link to my e-commerce store.
Right.
And I'm going to make money off of those purchases. Right. You could also offer ebooks. We have the ebook in the
right.
in the description box. We have the membership. So there's ways that you can monetize right out of the gate. And I need to correct myself because when we were talking about, I said engagement matters and numbers don't. What I meant to say was engagement matters. Followers don't. Your number of followers don't, but your numbers do. But it's about the data. What's the analytics? How much, how engaged is your audience? Because you could have 500 people in your community, and of that 500, 200 of them are actively engaged in your audience. I mean, in your content, right? We have seen where there was several years ago, a huge influencer. She had millions of followers. She could not sell $15 t-shirts. Bro, what? Now, that leads to a whole other topic that we'll get into for another episode, buying followers and all of that. Mm-hmm. But like my point is just because someone has a large number of followers does not mean that it automatically converts to sales.
And you don't need it, right?
No.
All you need is 1,000 raving fans to create a 7-figure empire.
That's right. That's right.
That's it. 1,000. They will buy anything you want. That's all you need. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Right? So you focus on that. I mean, you don't need 1 million, 10 million followers. I mean, it's nice if they're all buying from you, but more than likely, you got to be a big top celebrity to get that. But the ones that don't, I mean, I'm sure they're not as well off as you think, but 1,000 raving fans, that's all you need.
Yeah.
That's all you need. And then the platform that you're on, they give you opportunities to run ads as well too. Yeah. So companies contact you, McDonald's, Lowe's, Burger King, to read a 30-second to 60-second ad. Mm-hmm. They're paying anywhere from $200 up to like $4,000 or $5,000, even more. So I used to pride myself on, you know what, I can make $500 an hour, but now it's like that's in 60 seconds. I mean, $500 in 60 seconds. Mm-hmm. You can do that. Yep. Of course, you got to build the platform first, build your audience, but these advertisers are paying big money.
Because they want access. They are no longer interested in going to pay tens of hundreds of thousands of dollars to have a 60-second, 15-second, 30-second ad spot on TV. There's always going to be a place for it, right? But they're looking at how they can diversify their dollar, like how can they really maximize their dollars. And because podcasting is a growing industry, they're looking at brands are creating podcasts,
right? Yep.
Like you have corporations who understand the value of because it's all about the community, it's all about your audience, it's how are they engaging. These are the people who are the decision makers. They're spending the money, and so if you have something to say that's of value to them, you're going to be winning every single time. You know what I'm saying? And so I'm here for all things podcasting.
I'm gonna go back for a second.
Yeah, because I lost my train.
You talked about audience, right? So there was an interesting stat that I heard last week is that football, soccer, their audience is bigger than American football, right? But American football creates more revenue than soccer.
Yep.
So they have, I think, 3 or 4 times more of the audience than American football, but American football makes more money because it's more entertaining, right? But so to your point, audience doesn't matter. Size doesn't matter as far as who is looking at you.
Yeah.
Are those eyeballs impactful? Are the ones who are looking at you, are they buying? Are they, you know what? I want to rock with Al. I don't rock with Anthony, right? Versus just,
they're two people.
Two people. Mic. Look at them.
Yeah.
So, audience size doesn't matter at all.
No, not at all.
Our whole point here is to get started, and if you're going to do this, you have to commit to this being your life.
That's what I was going to say.
Go ahead.
About the commitment part. Another user case is, say you don't want to commit long term to a podcast, like the process of podcasting. That's okay. You got to know what your goals are. Okay. Now, it's not something that we necessarily recommend, but again, it's what are your goals? Because you might be a coach or a consultant or some other type of professional where a pop-up podcast will be something that fits more in line with your brand and your marketing strategy.
Pop-up, what do you mean by pop-up podcast?
I'm explaining. Okay. So this is another way when we talk about monetization structures or opportunities, you can not be a podcaster, but exist in another industry, but create this podcast, or a pop-up podcast where people have to subscribe and pay for that podcast, whether it's 2, 3, 4 episodes, and that's the only way that they're going to get that content. So you know how people are creating courses. A podcast can be a supplemental piece to your course, or it can become the course, and the only way that they get access to that is if they pay. So that's another monetization structure. Again, that's not sustainable long term if you're only going to commit to a few episodes, but I want people to just begin to I want to give them different scenarios and user cases so that they can see the possibilities for them with podcasting. So.
I thought you meant when we said pop up, like having podcasts, like doing them live, and you can do that too. You can do live tours, right? Because there are several that are doing tours out there. They're going from state to state, doing live in person podcasts.
And selling tickets,
which is amazing. I'm complete. What else you got?
Well, we can go on and on, but we don't have enough time, so we'll save it for the membership.
Yeah. So speaking of the membership, guys, get plugged in with us. Get plugged in because everything Born to Create is here. So get plugged in. Come on with us on the ride. We're here every single week, and I can't thank you enough for watching, sitting here and listening to Elle and I talk about things that we love, and it's easy for us, right?
Absolutely,
it's easy for us,
and it's fun. Yeah. It's fun,
and you guys make it fun and make it worthwhile. But keep watching, stay tuned in, and what you guys say closes out.
I got you. Yep. So if you found value in this episode, which we hope you did, and we're really confident that you did, be sure to like, subscribe, and share this on YouTube. If you're listening on your favorite audio platform, make sure that you listen all the way. Well, if you've gotten here, you've listened all the way. You want to rate it and share it out with your community. Share it with your friends. Our goal is always to provide value in a way that's entertaining, fun, but also educational, and provides real relevant content and information to help you grow and scale. And again, just thank you so much for your time. We don't take it lightly. We appreciate you being here with us week after week. Keep showing up, and we're going to keep showing up for you. Thanks again for watching another episode of the Born to Create podcast, where we talk all things creative, business, mindset, and health and wellness. Don't put us in a box, because we were born to create, and so are you. We'll see you on the next episode of the Born to Create podcast.
See you guys soon. Love you guys.
Take
Bye.
care.